Hi guys, welcome to the 27th episode of Daily Word Webs to Build the Cat. Water, the precursor to life. Precursor means something that comes before an item, right? So in this case, water was something that has been said to be something that came before life, right? That means as in life started from water. Which by the way, water is the meaning of the root that we'll be taking up today in today's session. Hydr, hydr, for as in hydro, which stands for water. Okay, so let's start. So this root, guys, has its origin in the Greek language and it stands for water, as did the last root that we discussed in the last episode, right? Aqua, uska meaning भी आपका water ही था. So okay, चलो. We used to have these sports day events, right, during school, and often you notice that sometimes kids or students कभी कभी ऐसा होगा कि that they get really dehydrated and might pass out sometimes, right? So dehydrated is basically the case when when there has been an excessive loss of water from your body, right? That means you're kind of dehydrated. It can happen काफी बार होता है if you're not drinking enough water, and like maybe you're traveling. Generally it happens during traveling as well. Traveling के time पे भी काफी बार लोगों को people have dehydration due to diarrhea, right? Because their digestive system does not react very well to the foreign food items that they are consuming. So that's dehydration for you. And to counter this dehydration, right? D is the negative prefix and hydrate comes from hydr or hydro, that stands for water. That means water आपका lose हो गया. That's dehydration. So to counter this dehydration problem, what people do is they try to rehydrate. Okay. And you must have heard of this. क्या आता था? I think there is this ORS करके एक solution आता है, right? ORS. They ask you that, okay, if you have diarrhea or something, or if you have lost a lot of liquid, or maybe electrolytes from your body, then you might want to get an ORS, right? ORS means oral rehydration solution, right? Oral rehydration solution. So which apart from it's basically some electrolytes and some I think carbohydrates या glucose भी थोड़ा रहता है उसमें शायद, might vary from different brand to brand probably. That is mixed in water and then you drink it, right? So as to rehydrate yourself. So as to replenish the water in your body as well as the electrolytes that you might have lost. Generally diarrhea वाले cases में, traveling वाले cases में use होता है वो. Anyhow, so that's rehydrate for us and dehydrate. Let's look at the next term, which is anhydrous, right? In chemistry, we used to hear about compounds which were anhydrous in nature, and these would generally be compounds which don't contain water at all, right? उसमें जरा एकदम सूखे हैं, they are completely dry, and generally they will be crystalline in nature, right? So anhydrous, as you can see, it derives from the root obviously hydra, that means water, and n is the negative prefix here, right? So simply anhydrous would be like anything that is that doesn't, generally it's used for chemical compounds which don't contain any water whatsoever. Okay, so that's anhydrous for you. Next, there are a couple of other. Do you guys recall the roots? हमने कुछ roots सीखे थे. Philia was one of the roots that we learned, and then was another one was phobos, right? PHOBOS, phobos, जिसमें से आपका phobia एक root आता है, right? Philia and phobia. Phobia stands for to love something, and phobos stands for to be fearful of something, right? So if I were to ask you कि if I try to mix up these roots, philia and phobos, with hydr or hydro, what are the kind of words that you will get, and what is the kind of meaning that those words will have? Yeah, you want to take a guess? The first one will be hydrophilia. Okay, now hydrophilia or hydrophilic, is basically a term that is used for any item that has a tendency to easily mix with water or to easily dissolve with water. Or hydrophilic surfaces are surfaces where जहाँ पे the water droplet would flatten out quite easily, right? Say for example, if you put water on a glass surface, you'd often see that अगर आप कोई water droplet डाल रहे हैं, it will not just remain like this. It will in fact like almost flatten out, right? Kind of flatten out. So that's because it's kind of glass is considered as a hydrophilic surface, right? And hydrophilic surfaces generally have applications in the industry. Biomedical equipments में इसका application होता है, काफी जगह होता है. So that's hydrophilus. Those are hydrophilic substances or hydrophilic surfaces. Similarly, you have इसको छोड़ के एक और चीज होती है, which is I think hydrophobic. So you have these the kind of clothing which is considered to be hydrophobic in nature. So you see, on one hand you obviously have your raincoats which obviously are totally impermeable to water, but on the other hand काफी बार ऐसे भी कोई fabric के कुछ आपके outfits होते हैं where it is not completely impermeable, like if you get drenched in, like if you're out in heavy rains, obviously you'll get drenched, but at least it tries to, it is not like अगर थोड़ा बहुत drizzling या ऐसा कुछ हो रहा है, then obviously the water simply washes off the surface of the fabric, right? So those kind of fabrics are considered as hydrophobic fabrics. These fabrics will not get wet very easily. बहुत आसानी से ये गीले नहीं हो जाएंगे, right? So hydrophobic comes from hydr and phobia. Okay, so that's about hydrophilic, hydrophobic, hydroelectric. Let's see, this is such a common root now. इसमें से आपको बहुत सारे words मिल सकते हैं. Hydroelectric power is basically electricity that is generated from water, right? You have your dams, hydroelectric sources of energy, right? So it's one of the renewable sources of energy that we have, quite important in fact. So that's hydroelectric. Next, let's go to the next term, which is hydroponics. Now, hydroponics the first root of it, you obviously know that it comes from hydro, that stands for water, the first part. The second part, ponics, is an interesting term that is an interesting root that comes from ponos. Okay, it stands for, let me write it here, it comes from P-O-N-O-S, which in Greek stands for labor, right? Now, hydroponics is basically simply the practice of growing plants not in soil, but rather in maybe kind of an aqueous medium, right? A-Q-U-E-O-U-S. Aqueous is derived from your earlier root that हमने पिछली बार पढ़ा था. Aqueous medium is a medium that has water, right? Comes from aqua. So when the practice of growing plants in an aqueous medium, in kind of a solution, rather than in kind of a water solution that contains some nutrients that are required for the growth of the plant, rather than just maybe soil, etc. That practice is considered as hydroponics, right? Because that requires a lot of labor, I guess. So hence hydroponics. That would be hydroponics. Let's move on to the next one, which is hydrophyte. Guys, hydro, again, the first part comes from your core root. The second part, fight is basically a root for plant. Okay, it comes from the Greek term P-H-U-T-O-N, that stands for a plant. Okay, and so hydrophyte is basically a plant that only grows in or on water. ऐसा कोई पौधा जो आपका प्लांट जो कि आपका या फिर पानी के सरफेस पे या फिर पानी के अंदर ग्रो करता है, right? So that will be a hydrophyte for you. Next, hydrology, right? This is the hydrology. Can you? It's quite easy to guess, right? We have studied both the roots. Hydro हम लोग यहाँ पे पढ़ रहे हैं, and logy is basically the study of something. So hydrology probably should have something to do with the study of water or water-related bodies, right? Yes, that's correct. The hydrology is basically the branch of science concerned with the properties of Earth's water, right? Earth's water or Earth's water bodies, and especially with respect to the movement of water on Earth in relation to land, right? So the movement of the water bodies across the whole planet with respect to the land. So that's hydrology. Right, आगे चलते हैं. Let's move on to the next one, which is hydrosphere. Hydrosphere. Do you guys recall हमने biosphere पढ़ा था थोड़े दिन पहले? Biosphere is basically the complete the region of the planet including the atmosphere and जो भी आपके अर्थ के surface वाले regions or subterranean regions or atmospheric regions जहाँ पे भी wherever you can find life, that will be part of your biosphere. Similarly, hydrosphere will be basically water in all forms found on, under or above a planet's surface. Okay, the complete superset of all that water will be considered as the hydrosphere. उसको hydrosphere बोला जाएगा. ठीक है. A last term that you can try guessing the meaning of would be, चलो ये आप try करिए, hydromancer. Who do you think would be a hydromancer? I'm going to give you like 5 to 10 seconds to guess this. मैं आपको I'll give you a hint. Hydro तो आपको पता ही है. Mancer is a root that we have we have probably discussed in the episode where we talked about the root that related to fire. Pyromancer में हमने discuss किया था, अगर आपको याद हो तो. Right? So mancer comes from mancy, which stands for like divination, right? So so a hydromancer is basically someone who tries to predict what's going to happen, someone who tries to practice divination by looking at the motion of liquids. Maybe वो किसी को बोलेंगे जिसके लिए वो prediction कर रहे हैं, they might ask them to throw a pebble in water and then looking at the patterns of the motion of the fluid or the waves that have the ripples that are there, they might try to predict something. So you know काफी चीजें हैं दुनिया में, देखो. So hydromancer, that's what you have here. Then yeah, so that's I think about it so far as today's words are concerned. Let's move on to the sentences now. At this point, guys, you can pause the video and go through the sentence usages of these words, by going through these sentences that have been listed here. And as you can see, these have been sourced from some reliable sources. The credits have been mentioned here. Okay, so you can do that. Here you can again pause the video and test yourself. You just need to find the correct order of sentences which have been shuffled, so that the right sentence, is along with the right word. The words are fixed on the left side. You can also attempt this test via a Google form, the link to which has been provided in the description. So guys, here's the summary of the roots and words that we studied on a primary and secondary basis. What you can do is you can pause the video if you want and try to recall the meaning of these roots and the words that we discussed in the session today. So guys, so far as my profile and credentials are concerned, मैंने उसके लिए अलग से एक वीडियो यहाँ पे बना दिया है, जिससे कि हर बार 2-3 मिनट इसमें ज़ाया ना करने पड़े. फिर भी अगर आपको शॉर्ट में रीड करना है तो यहाँ पॉज करके you can read all of this content about me. But if you go to the video, you'll also get to see the reviews of the courses that I've conducted on other platforms in the past, right? So go on and check it out if you want. So that's about that, and यहाँ पे this link will take you to the next video. And this should take you to the very first video of the series if you're new to the session. Okay, so that's about it. See you in the next one.